Okay, let's see if we get, okay, we're live. My phone is charging, so my phone has to be sideways when I'm recording this video. So hopefully it's the right way because I did not want my phone to die when we're recording the podcast episode. So I got so excited because a bunch of Amazon packages came today. I'm moving into what I'm calling like my mama cave. So there'll be like a YouTube video coming soon on like what it looks like, and I'm super duper excited. It's not at my house, and that is very intentional. I used to have like a huge office, and then I went down to nothing, and then I started trying to work out of my home, and it just did not feel good to me. There's just too many distractions, a dog, dishes, the energy is just off, and so I made the commitment to go to a co-working spot, and I have just like this cute little space, and it's just for me, and it feels like a mama oasis. Like, who knows what I'll do someday, like when we have our dream home. I shouldn't even say someday, but soon, when we have our dream home and we have more space, maybe I have like a guest house with my office, but for the foreseeable future, I signed a year lease. This is a long-winded way of saying I got a super bougie podcast mic that I'm super excited about. So we're about to like up-level the podcast. I hope you hear the difference, see the difference, feel the difference. But I hope it's also like a great reminder for you that we don't wait for those things. I have wanted this podcast mic for legitimately almost a year. Almost a year I've wanted this, and I don't want to say I've put it off. It just hasn't felt like the right time. And now feels like the right time. And I was super excited about it, which is like a huge win because typically ADHD people are very impulsive, and I've had this in my cart several times, and it wasn't like a fear thing. It was just like, this doesn't feel like the right time. And I agree with that because I've had a baby. So it would have just been sitting there collecting dust. I shouldn't say collecting dust, but I would have not been able to maximize it. And it is quite an investment. So I'm excited that I literally just bought it. It's in my hands. It's so delicious and amazing. And I can't wait to like start recording with it. But we don't wait. We do not wait. So I'm excited to help you make fast cash. I did, my very first like fast cash sprint a few years ago. Try to say that 5 times fast. And it was just this fun experiment when Emma was super little. I was like, I wonder how much I can make in 1 week if I really like put my mind to it. And so that's what today's episode's all about. Like, I want you to sit with that question of, I wonder how much I could make in 1 week if I just put my mind to it. If I just really focused and like was energetically all in. And I believe I made like a little over $3,000 in 1 week, and I had very little time. I had a very small following at the time. But it was because I asked that question, and I remember like putting Post-it notes in a mason jar with like totals that I was making. And then I added it up at the end of the week, and I was just like, holy moly, this is amazing, right? So I'm going to give you some ideas today to make fast cash. This is something that I think is incredibly useful no matter where you're at in your journey. Like, who doesn't love a cash injection? If you want to, take your kids out on a Friday night, or you want to go on date night, or you want to buy some clothes and you didn't have it budgeted, or you want to invest in team and you didn't have that budgeted, whatever it is, our business truly gets to be an ATM. And when you start to really develop and master the skills of sales and social media, you can make literally any amount of money that you desire. And that's why mindset at the end of the day is the most important thing. Like, do you believe you can do it, right? Like, at the end of the day, do you believe that you can do it? Because once you believe, you are unstoppable, right? Like, we get to obviously like over time master the skills, but the skills are mastered by doing the thing, right? So like, you could do this week after week and get better and better and better, and you're going to see more growth financially over time. So maybe the first week it starts with $500 extra. Then the next week you go to 1,000, and then the next week you go to 2,000. Within like 90 days, you could literally on a weekly basis, let's like just pick a crazy number, you could be at $10,000 a week, right? And like, anything is possible, but you've got to believe. So whatever number feels out of reach for a week, where you're like, oh my gosh, I could never bring in $10,000 in a week, that seems banana pants, right? We get to start believing before the money is ever in your account, we've got to believe that it's possible. I can't tell you how many Facebook Lives I've done where I've just made a mind-blowing amount of money by just being myself, right? By speaking my soul, by loving on people, serving the crap out of people. I've done videos and they've made lots and lots of money, right? Like so much money. And it's exciting, right? So this is a skill that you get to develop and do this every week that you want to make more, right? That you desire to make more. So I want to give a podcast sponsor shout out, and then I'm going to give you like all the tea on how to do this. Okay. So, this podcast episode is sponsored by Allie. Oh, you're so amazing. So, Allie is like the queen of Shopify. So if you are an e-com or you want to get into e-com, she is your girl. Want to get started on Shopify, but are getting stuck on the actual selling a site, designing a site that sells, I should say. Allie has developed a step-by-step guide to picking the best design for your brand and your product line. Grab the Theme Thunder Toolkit. Doesn't that just sound so fun? And learn what exactly you need on your website to get your customers to buy, right? We don't want just a pretty website that doesn't convert to sales. So she's going to help you make fast cash too. You get the pre-sale discount on this offer, and I'll make sure that link is in the show notes for you. Allie has such a heart of gold. I know her personally. She is amazing. So even if you're are slightly interested in doing an e-com site, she is a wealth of knowledge. So make sure you're following her on social, and absolutely grab that toolkit because it's going to be amazing. So, let's talk about, I'm just grabbing my notes here. Okay. So fast cash, believing is the most important thing. And then choosing that you want to do this, right? Like I asked that question at the beginning of the podcast. Wouldn't it be nice to just see how much I could make in 1 week? If I just really put my mind to it, let's just see what happens, right? And when you come from that space, there is no losing, right? When I said that, the first time that I did it, I wasn't oh my gosh, I better make $3,000 this week or I'm a failure, right? So when you step into the question from an abundant standpoint of I just want to see what I'm capable of making, it's literally, you set the bar at nothing. So anything is possible. And so therefore you're not going to be disappointed. You're going to be excited, right? So I just want you to almost pop the top off of it and say okay, I'm going to do this and it's going to be fun and exciting. Remember how I said I grabbed Post-it notes, I had a mason jar, I just made it this fun game, and I did not decide how much I was going to do that week, that it was going to be successful or not. I think that is really, really important. And I think you'll actually lean in more. Now, when you do this week after week after week, you could make it a fun game of let's beat the score from the week before, right? Or at least, put our energy into it to increase our odds for success. But for the first time that you do this, I really want you to just pop the top off of it and say, I'm going to see what I'm capable of this week. Let's just have a lot of fun and put myself out there and move forward. Okay. So I'm going to give you some ideas when you decide to do this, but the belief has to come from you. I cannot do that. You can borrow my belief, but at the end of the day, the best belief is what comes from you, internally in your heart of hearts. And I'm not saying that you have to be at 100%, but can you give me 50%? Can you give me 75%? You can absolutely be nervous and fearful in the process, but we're going to choose faith over fear and move forward, right? That's the only way we're going to get to your wealthiest life, is always choosing faith over fear and moving forward. Okay. So my favorite tip when you do this is use what you already have to make more. Okay. Do you have product on hand that we can run a fun sale, right? And we go live and we're selling things and we are messaging people and we're sending emails, maybe text messages. What do you already have? Now, this doesn't have to necessarily be product in your business. Do you have stuff laying around the house? I remember like that first week that I mentioned that I did years ago, I sold things on Facebook Marketplace and I made quick cash. We want to get momentum because a week is a very short amount of time, right? So it can be products that you have in your business. It can be things that you have in your house. Nothing is off limits. But like, let's use what we have to make more money. Okay. If you're more of a coach, consultant, a digital creator, there's still things that you've created that maybe are collecting dust that we could go ahead and package back up and sell, right? We could package them up together, do a bundle sale with a certain amount of digital products, or you could run a flash sale on like one-on-one calls. Like, be creative with this, have so much fun with this, put your personality into it, think about what's going on in the world from a positive standpoint and bundle that in it, right? Like if it's 4th of July week or if it's close to Christmas, like there's so many fun, cutesy things that we can do just to like put some flair into it. And it's not just like this stale, boring thing, right? People love mystery bags. I've done mystery bags in the past. Like ridiculous, irresistible pricing on coaching. Like when COVID happened, I just did coaching of like pay what you can because I just truly wanted to support people, right? So this wasn't like I'm going to make a lot of money, but I just wanted to be in service to other people. So I said, pay what you can. Like I'm here to support you. And some people paid a lot of money and some people paid a little money, and I showed up just the same for all of them, right? So let's use what we have, whether it's time, assets that you have in your house, digital resources, whatever you got, let's use it. Go on a treasure hunt for this type of stuff. You would be amazed at how much shit you have, like truly. And I don't mean shit in a bad way, but like we move so fast that we forget of things. Like I'm literally looking around my room to see if I can like give you an example of like what I could use. Like I have a bunch of books. I could sell my books if I didn't want them, right? Like, but I love my books. But maybe there's some clothes that I don't need and I could sell those. I've done that so many times. I am not above any type of way of making money as long as it's legal and like aligned with my values. I will say that. But like I'm not above selling some clothes, right? I'm not above putting something on Facebook Marketplace. Like I love making money in ways that feel good to me, and that does feel good, right? There's so many ways online that you can make money. So use what you have to make more is one of my favorite tips. What are you already doing that you can make more money? So I want you to look at your calendar. Is there an event that you're going to, right? That is in another city? And could you meet with people and like create opportunities for yourself, right? The podcast was like a huge thing that I was bragging to my husband about of like, I'm already recording podcast episodes. Why am I not offering people to literally have a podcast sponsorship, right? Like this can grow. Like I truly believe in my heart of hearts, years from now, I can have brand deals that are like $10,000, right? I'm not above starting at $25, right? So I'm already doing the podcast. Why not invite people to come and sponsor an episode, right? So I'm already doing it. Now I'm creating more money in my business, right? Which then can create more money with other things. So what's already on your calendar that you can make more? You're already doing it. I want you to think about like, this kind of goes into the third tip. So I'll just go ahead and talk about the third tip. Okay. Current clients that you have, how can we support them more for more money? Okay. That is the most important point there. We're not going to just support them more without more money. So whatever your scope of work is right now, we're going to honor that, stay true to that, but there could still be other things that they need or want that they may not know that you can do. For example, I have a one-on-one client. She's amazing. One of our calls, she's like, hey, I'm looking for somebody that does XYZ. I'm like, oh my gosh, actually, like we could help you with that. Would you like me to put together a proposal? And she said, yes. Guess what? She said, yes, it's a $10,000 proposal. That is more than what she's already doing. And she's going to be able to get a great service, get things off of her plate that our whole team is taking care of for her, right? So this one's a most important one because current clients love spending money with you. Whether you believe it or not, they would not spend their hard-earned money if they did not love you, want to work with you, get value from you. People are very mindful of where they're spending their dollars more than ever right now. And so current clients, I want you to like get really creative with like, how else could you support them? You know them so well. Now, they could say yes or they could say no. But like, for example, I could totally put together an amazing package for my current clients and say, hey, we're going to go to the beach. Who wants to go? Right? It's this much money. I guarantee you I could sell the spots, right? Or, hey, I have some one-on-one spots. Who wants them? Here's the link to book and pay, right? So I love the saying, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, because it's so true. If we don't offer more services, you're not going to make more money, right? Like, it's going to be harder to make more money. So we want to really think about like, okay, who are my current clients and how can I support them more? Now, at the end of the day, they could say yes, they could say no. You don't have control over that. But again, if you don't offer, the answer is automatically no for everyone. And Sales 101 is like, at least a percentage of those people are going to say yes, right? Or they're going to think really long and hard about it of like, ooh, do I want to go to the beach or not, right? Like, that sounds really dreamy. Does she have a payment plan, right? So we want to just put it out there. Okay. The next tip is like, what is your best seller? Like, you could sell it all day, every day. It could be a product, program, a service, but what is the thing that like people get so excited for? You feel so confident selling it. Let's package that up for the week and do like a super juicy, irresistible offer for your best seller. And the reason I say that, because you already feel so confident in it. We have social proof in it. So to get like some fast results is going to be more likely than like a new product that you're like, ooh, I'm unsure about it. The market's unsure about it. They've never heard about it before, right? So let's think about what that bestseller is, package it together, put it out into your world, your audience. And obviously that isn't just a one and done thing. Like, we keep talking about it throughout the week. And then, the cart closes at the end of the week for the bestseller. Okay. Last but not least, a fun thing that you can do is what I call complimentary calls. Okay. So complimentary calls are not sales calls. They are complimentary calls. And the reason why this is so powerful is because I've talked about this on another episode. Until people feel what it feels like to work with you, they're going to stay on the sidelines, right? And so if they're not experiencing you in a container, whether it be a video or in person or on a call, they're going to more than likely stay on the sidelines unless they have such a strong pain point that they seek you out and they're like, yeah, I need you right now. Take my credit card. There is obviously a percentage of people that will do that, but the vast majority of people need to see and feel what it's like to work with you. Okay. So a complimentary call, I did this back in the day and it just blew my mind because I just did it because I wanted, again, it felt like it came from such a heart-centered space. And that's my favorite way to sell because it feels so good. And so I would just offer complimentary coaching calls and they were about 30 minutes long. And it was serving, right? And they were so blown away. They're like, this feels amazing, right? So they would actually ask the sales question themselves. They would be like, I don't want to stop. Like, how can I work with you? Right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, awesome. Well, this call is a complimentary call, so we're not going to talk about it on today's call, but I'll go ahead and send you some like details on that and we can follow up and talk more about it, which is a really powerful sales strategy because it leaves them wanting more, right? If I were just to like word vomit on them of like all the opportunities, they're already so overwhelmed, but in a good way, of the experience of what it feels like to have support, that their brain is kind of already like tapped, right? And the goal of the call was to support them. And so it feels better to me to like not press on that call and just leave it at like a really solid supporting call, leave them wanting more, but then obviously I will follow up with them. Like, I'm not going to not follow up with them. So complimentary calls may not make sense for every business, but like, could you send some happy mail of your product, right? With like a little handwritten note from you. So you could like play with that, but it's getting the experience in the other person's hands that you really do want to work with. And when you do this, you may not see an immediate conversion for that week, but you will see a faster conversion than not doing anything, right? Pay attention to your buying behaviors, okay? What works for you? What gets you excited? Are you incorporating that into your business or not, right? Like, to me, I love building relationships with women. I love becoming referral partners with women. I love having them on my podcast. And the more I do get to know them, one of two things happens. One, I want to work with them, right? In some capacity. And two, they may want to work with me. Now, I never go into it like with those conditions, but like when we like start to get to know each other, it's like, how can we support each other? And it may not always be in like a coach client container, but like it could be in a collaborative container. It could be in like an emotional support container. And all of these are so freaking important. But if people continue to stay on the sidelines and no one's inviting them in, whether it's you or them, they're going to continue to stay on the sidelines. So making fast cash is also so important to come from a heart-centered space and be willing to still be patient. So I want to like make sure you feel that, and it's not like we're trying to make as much as fast cash as we can, and we're not reminding ourselves of like, this is a process, this is a journey, but there are so many opportunities, some of which I didn't even already mention yet. So like some easy wins also is like, are there a bunch of subscriptions that you don't need? Like, I believe in like operating your business and spending money, but like you'd be so surprised on like how fast subscriptions personally and professionally add up, and like, are you using them? Are you maximizing them? You can create thousands of dollars just by looking into that, right? On a Wealthy Wednesday. On top of everything else I mentioned, right? I don't want you to come from a lack mentality on that, like you're stripping everything away, but if we're not using it, then we're not using it, and let's get rid of it. And I've definitely been doing that, this year. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're really not using that or maximizing that, or how can we streamline this? And we're saving so much money. Okay. So lots of ideas. I'm super excited for you to make fast cash and it to feel good. That's one of my most important things for you, is that it feels good. Put post-it notes of how much money that you're making. Also, like, what activities are you doing? Write those on post-it notes and put all of those in a mason jar, because you're not always going to see the immediate return, but like the action is most important. Did we send an email? Let's write that on a post-it note. Did we go on Facebook Live? Did we go in our stories, right? Like, did we go to a networking event? Like, what did you do in that week? Because I do want you to see that just as if it's like cash, and remind yourself of like, oh my gosh, like, I am doing so many powerful things for my business and it will pay off, and I'm okay if it takes a little bit longer, right? I always want you to be here for the long game, and like the more we do fast cash sprints, you'll get better and better and better. And the most important thing is all of the other sprints that you did before that next sprint that you're doing will start compounding, right? So this is not just a one and done thing. This is something that I want you to continue to do, to play into, see what feels good, what's fun to you, leave everything else behind. But your brain will think of really fun, creative things that we can just do. And like, not to mention the dopamine rush that comes from all of this. It's really, really exciting. So I'm excited for you. It's like all hands in on deck, like all hands in, okay? I don't know what I'm trying to say. All hands in, we'll just go with that. And I want you to say fast cash on 3. 1, 2, 3, fast cash! All right, you've got this! I can't wait for you. Go, 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 go!